Welcome, fellow nerds, to this episode of Nerd Shit, hosted by Lord Brad Brad and Riorik, where we discuss all things nerd. Whether it's anime, movies, comic books, video games, Magic the Gathering, or Dungeons & Dragons. If it's nerd, we talk about it. So pull up your favorite chair, pour a glass of mead, and get ready to come and discuss everything nerd shit.
And we're back, bitches. After our long break, we are back at the microphones. What's up, Lord Brad Brad?
Tired.
Tired? What the hell you got to be tired about?
Everything.
Well, let's see here. We last left off after Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Yes.
And that was what, May?
Yes.
It's now July?
Yes.
You've had 2 months. You should have rested up. What the hell you been doing?
Sleeping.
And you're tired?
Oversleeping.
Damn. But if we're being honest, you know, we had, 4 or 5 graduations, graduation parties, a vacation, your brother moved back from California, 4th of July. We've had a lot going on these last few weeks.
Babysitting.
Babysitting? What are you babysitting?
You babysitting.
Well, yeah, I've been babysitting. But, I mean, how else are we going to turn the next generation into anime freaks if we don't sit there and make them watch anime?
You can't make him sit and do anything.
No, but I can turn it on and hope that it gains his attention, which is better than what his grandmother would do.
You're right.
She turns on Bluey.
I think Bluey's fine. It could be worse.
Bluey is okay, and you're right. It could be worse. But you know what Bluey isn't?
Evangelion?
Bluey isn't Evangelion. Bluey isn't One Piece. Bluey isn't Dragon Ball.
He is Hispanic, so it's gotta be Evangelion, Dragon Ball, or Sailor Moon. That's the basics for Hispanic anime.
So we've got those, and he can watch those, and then his dad can introduce him to Food Wars or whatever else he wants.
Yeah, then he can get introduced into the white people stuff.
That's right. Tater tot casserole. But other than our busy summer schedules, because, I mean, we went on vacation, but so has everybody else, and when they go on vacation, we end up having to cover them at work, especially you.
Yes.
So that makes days off
impossible.
Difficult. Yes.
Impossible.
But those days off have come periodically.
Yeah.
And during that time, we have been able to do some of our Marvel versus DC stuff, right?
Yeah. We've even tried to record.
Yeah, we have tried to record, but interruptions have caused us some issues there. But the focus of this season is Marvel DC.
Yes.
Okay. So we've had 2 major movies, one from each franchise, come out since our last show. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
And The Flash.
I will not see The Flash. I am sorry, guys.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to it.
Let's start with Spider-Man. It did drop first.
It did.
So let's start with that one.
All right, let's go with it.
So we did see this one in the theater. Me and you and others. I mean, we went with a group to watch it. There was a lot of excitement around that. What are your thoughts?
I thought the movie was really good. There's a plot hole in it, but I'll get to that.
I'm with you. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was fun. But at the end of the day, there was a plot hole for me.
Yeah. Is ours the same or is it different?
Probably the same, but we'll get there.
Okay.
So for those who don't know, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is an animated feature focused on Miles Morales, who's the subject of the earlier animated movie Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which I don't think that one saw theatrical release.
It did.
Or was it a small theatrical release, or was it?
It was big.
Was it? Okay, I just don't remember that one.
You didn't go see it.
Well, I know I didn't go see it because I didn't remember it. But he also was the subject of the PS5 game, wasn't he?
Yeah.
The Spider-Man game for PS4 and PS5?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Miles Morales as Spider-Man in this movie is not something new. If you haven't been keeping up with it, he's just kind of one of the popular Spider-Mans right now. But let's get into your plot hole. What plot hole did you see with this? I mean, this may contain spoilers, just FYI. If you haven't seen the movie and don't want to spoil it, pause, go watch the movie, and then come back.
Okay. So in his timeline, technically, he is non-canon. Because he wasn't supposed to get bit by the spider or anything else. Well, what we saw in another timeline, when something non-canon happened, the universe started to fall apart right there. Well, that didn't happen in his universe. All right? That's one thing. Second. Apparently, the police chief, someone you're close to, is supposed to die in your timeline no matter what. All right? Which is what Miles Morales' dad was going to do. But Miles is already not canon. His universe is already fine. So if his dad were to die or not die, they don't know the outcome of it because he's non-canon. So, like, his dad doesn't have to die.
So what basis are you forming his non-canon status on? Simply because Spider-Man 2099 said he's non-canon?
They said he's non-canon and he's an anomaly.
But what if he's wrong? What if the canon was he was supposed to get bitten by a spider from another universe because there's not a Spider-Man in his universe?
But they don't know that. In their mind, he's already non-canon. So then why not just let his universe do its own thing? Because it's already going to fall apart.
But it's not falling apart, as you pointed out.
Exactly. So then they don't know what's going to happen. Let it go.
I think the fact that his universe isn't falling apart, which is contrary to the non-canon standard, and the fact that his father has to die as a police chief makes him canon. I think Spider-Man 2099 is just a moron.
Yeah.
He's angry, he's bitter about something, and he's just overreacting.
Yeah. And then he blamed it all on Miles, that everything that's going on was because of his universe. But, like, didn't he already have the Spider-Verse thing set up beforehand? If so, it's not just Miles' universe.
Well, that also begs the question, though, is if Miles is non-canon, and the spider that bit him wasn't from his universe, and therefore everything in his universe is screwed, what happens to the universe that the spider was supposed to be in?
You saw a little bit of part of that. And it didn't, I mean, it looked like chaos, but it didn't look like the universe fell apart around it.
Yeah, because they didn't have a Spider-Man, so there was nobody there to defend them.
Yeah, but, like, the universe didn't fall apart.
Still existed, yeah. So, yeah, I'm with you. There were a lot of things that they tried to explain in the movie that weren't consistent with the state of the movie.
It's a kid's movie. So
it is.
In the minds of a kid, they wouldn't have thought about it. All of this would have been fine.
Yeah, but we're in the age of cinematic superheroes where you've got movie nerds like me and you going to watch these films. These are animated films for kids, but when we went there, how many kids did you see in the theater versus adults without kids?
That's true.
There were a lot of us there without children.
That's true. But that's not the point of the money. The money is your parents are nerds and they're going to bring their kids to watch this, and we don't got to put a whole lot of effort for the kids. We're going to make them we're going to do it for, like, Spider-Man nostalgia, very popular. Kids will know it, and we just want the kids to get the parents to bring them here.
I guess.
That's just how most movies are.
But if you know that the parents bringing the kids are nerds, then you have to anticipate that the nerdy parents are going to pick up on some of these plot holes.
Look, if Marvel doesn't care, like, they're in their cinematic universe about their plot holes and such, I don't think the animated one's going to care as much.
But you also have to wonder, though, how much of the plot holes that they have are pre-thought and pre-planned as they lead into other things. Now, some of them, yeah, but it's poor communication as they plan out the stories for all these other movies and stuff like that. But you can't help but wonder if when something happened, was that because they were leaving an opening for something that happens in another movie? Or are they not thinking it that far out and I'm giving them way too much credit?
I'm going to be real honest with them lately. You're giving them way too much credit.
Yeah, here lately, that's not been great. Okay, so any other thoughts on Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse or across the Spider-Verse?
I love the characters. They were all fun.
They were. Hobie was interesting. Punk Spider or Spider-Punk or whatever. He was interesting. The dude carrying around the baby, that was fun.
Yes.
Peter Parker, it was actually the real Spider-Man as an adult. So that was interesting. I mean, there were a lot of things, if you know about the Spider-Man universe and all the different versions of Spider-Man, there were a lot of interesting tie-ins and Easter eggs and things like that.
Yeah, and the Lego Spider-Man scene was done by a 14-year-old.
Yes, and it was great. It was so great. I don't know. Have you heard anything on whether or not that one's hit streaming yet or when it's coming to streaming?
It's supposed to, I think, next month, and I think it's on Hulu.
Okay, that wouldn't surprise me since it's not an official Marvel Disney production.
That's what I saw a post on, and so I was like, that don't sound right. I thought it would be on Disney myself, but the thing said Hulu, but like it was just in a comment section.
Yeah.
So don't take that with a grain of salt.
Well,
I don't trust comment sections.
And while we're talking about streaming, there was a recent announcement: Guardians hits Disney. I want to say August 2nd.
Nice.
So here in a couple of weeks, that'll hit. All right, so that's all you've got on Spider-Man. Anything else you want to add?
No, I actually liked the movie and everything about it was really good, except for that one hole. But like, I can overlook that. I can do that. It's fine. It's a kids movie.
Yeah. Well, and maybe because they've already announced that there's a third one, Spider-Man
Part
Beyond
2.
the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
That drops next spring.
Yeah, part 2.
Maybe that will go some way as to explaining how this hasn't fallen apart as being non-canon and how it may really be canon. Maybe that's the conclusion to all of this is Spider-Man 2099 realizes he's made a mistake in his judgment.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that unfolds next year. Cool. All right. So moving on. Flash.
Go on.
You said you wouldn't see it.
I won't.
So let's dive into that for a minute. Why won't you see The Flash?
I don't support DC at the moment.
DC in general as a cinematic universe?
Yeah, pretty much.
Reason being?
They got rid of all the good actors and left the really bad one to make a really bad movie.
Well, so let's take a look at it from their perspective, okay? I'm not trying to justify anything. I'm just trying to look at it through the lens of DC and James Gunn as they make this shift. They don't have any active Superman projects, so Henry Cavill's not necessary.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman 1984 kind of bombed.
Yeah.
So they didn't have anything really hardcore in the works for Wonder Woman 3, so Gal Gadot wasn't necessary. There was a lot of stink around Amber Heard and Aquaman Part 2 and all that kind of stuff, so Jason Momoa was on a little shaky ground. They didn't know where they're going to be able to take that franchise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Ben Affleck's already stepped out of the Batman role for the most part. The Justice League theatrical release was a bomb. The Snyder release was really good, but they've maintained from the beginning that Snyderverse isn't a real thing. Snyderverse isn't going to continue. That was just a one-off, more or less. I think they were just trying to recoup some of their money and recoup some of the fans that they felt they probably lost.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got your main actors with no active projects. None.
Yes.
You've got James Gunn coming in to take over because DC Studios has realized the DCEU has failed. Done. We need a fresh start. We need a way to clean the slate and start over if we want to have a chance to survive. Right? That's the whole reason they brought in Gunn, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So at that point, they've already started production, started work on the Flash movie. And of all the characters that they have, the Flash gives them the greatest chance at a reset button.
I don't think a 1% chance counts as the greatest chance you should take.
Well, the idea being we can throw everything we've done away and start over from the ground up, just completely ignore all the movies that we've done and pretend they don't exist and start a new DCEU, or we create something that migrates our stories from the old to the new so that we can still reference and call back to those previous events if we need to.
I think they should have restarted and just called those things Easter eggs.
Probably, but studios are emphasis what's the word I'm looking for here?
Stupid? Evil?
Well, that too. But they're interested in trying to carry things forward. The DCEU represents a massive financial investment. They probably don't want to just throw it away. They want to find ways to try and leverage that to help monopolize things moving forward.
So they're hoarders with trash.
I wouldn't necessarily call them hoarders. I think they're investors trying to find a way to recoup some of the losses.
I don't think they can make that back ever.
I think it's a big gamble, But if you're looking for a way to hit the reset button without trashing the rest, you've got to have an intermediary, and I think that's what they saw The Flash as giving them. The timing of the studio's change and Ezra Miller's legal issues, I think, were just extremely unfortunate from a studio perspective. And at that point, what other choice did they have to do? They were probably already under contract, and it was going to cost them too much money to get out.
I don't think it's that big of a deal to get rid of a drug dealing grandparent stealing child.
But let's paint this in another picture. There was a movie. Oh, who was it? I want to say it was Brad Pitt. He was doing a movie one time, and he wasn't real happy with the direction the movie was going. He wanted to get out of the movie, and he went and he asked, how much is it going to cost for me to get out of this movie? You know, if I leave this movie, what's the cost to me? Oof. They told him it was $40 million if he wanted out of that movie. It was going to cost him $40 million. It wasn't going to cost the studio $40 million. Yeah. It was going to cost Brad Pitt $40 million. Oof. So he sucked it up and he did his movie.
Yeah.
But you have to think that there are certain clauses in contracts that say if the studio chooses to bail at a certain point, that the actor is still owed, you know, certain sums of money.
Yeah.
Because they're basically committing their time to the studio, saying, I will make this movie for you, I will do this for you, I am going to dedicate my time for this, and in exchange, you're going to pay me for my exclusivity type thing. So if they reach a certain point and the studio backs out, the actor is owed something because they weren't able to do anything else. Because they were committed to the studio just as the studio was committed to them. And the studio may have said it's too much of an expense to cut this contract loose because we're going to have to pay him, we're going to have to pay the director, we're going to have to pay all these other people because we've already reached this point in production. So we might as well just go ahead and finish the movie. It's not going to cost us that much more. At least then we have a chance to recoup some of our cost. And to a certain degree, with the woke, I guess you could say, woke society that's going around and whatnot, that with Ezra Miller having the pronouns that they had and things like that, maybe the studio felt that they would be viewed negatively by the public if they cut him or cut them or whatever. So rather than face more backlash for being viewed as homophobic or transphobic or not caring about mental health or whatever, they were trying to save face. It's kind of the whole Bud Light thing all over again. You know, some people are going to be angry, some people are going to be happy. You can't please everyone.
Yep.
I think that probably played a role in it too.
Yeah.
So now, unlike you, I wanted to see the Flash movie just because I was curious to see what they were going to do with it. I wasn't going to pay attention to who was really in the role. I was just curious as to how they were going to spin this story to give them that jumping off point for James Gunn.
Yeah.
I didn't see the movie, though.
This is when we were really busy.
Yeah, it came out while we were out of the country. So when we came back, it was in theaters. But we spent 2 weeks passing around stomach viruses to the families. I mean, every day somebody else was sick.
Yep.
And then we were sick for 2 days, and it just kept going around and round and round before we finally broke the cycle. And by the time we broke the cycle, we'd had a couple of birthdays come and go.
Yep.
We were coming up on July 4th. Your brother was right there at the tail end of getting moved into his house.
That was fun.
So we just never made it to the theater. It was always, we're busy, something's going on, we feel like crap, and the next thing I know, it's Indiana Jones.
I didn't want to watch Indiana Jones either.
I did, and I went and watched it.
I've already seen them, how do I put this? South Park Indiana Jones once. I didn't want to see them do it again.
I will say Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is better than the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It's much better in terms of concept. There's some things about it I don't necessarily like it's all about the Antikythera mechanism, which is an actual real historic artifact, but the way they distort that history for the use of entertainment just bugs me because I'm a history nerd, so I don't like the way they distorted it. at least with like Indy 1 and Indy 3, they were using mythological ideals, the Ark of the Covenant,
Yeah.
the
Holy Grail?
the Holy Grail, yeah. Things that people know from texts from antiquity, from religion, from things like that, but nobody has ever seen, nobody knows if they exist or anything like that. But when you take a real historical artifact and start putting these fantastic spins on them so that they do something completely different than what we know they do now, it really just kind of breaks the illusion for me. If I didn't know what it was, and I just walked into a movie theater and saw this, I'd be like, oh, that's kind of neat. That's weird. Okay, cool, kooky, but I know what it is. And I couldn't get that out of my head the whole time.
Yeah, it'd be kind of like having, no, the time traveling bell was made up, but like, they should have done something like that in one of the movies. I would have loved to have seen that. That's the bell Hitler was looking for.
Oh, Glocken. No, it wasn't that he was looking for it. It was that he was building it.
Yeah, there we go. I thought he was looking for it. If they would have done something like that, that would have been really cool.
It would have, because
because it's not real. I mean, he was trying, but it is real.
Well, the best Indiana Jones movies, I mean, if you go back and look at Indy 1 and Indy 3 and even Indy 4, he's always fighting the Nazis.
Yeah.
Always. And Indy 5's no different. He's still fighting the Nazis. But yeah, it would have been really neat had there been some tie-ins with some of Hitler's secret programs. 'Cause not only did Hitler have an obsession with the occult, which is why the Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant, the Spear of Destiny, and all that stuff tie into Indiana Jones so well, because they were, antique or, items of antiquity that an archaeologist would have been looking for. But yeah, he was also interested in some other weird stuff. But the problem with doing the Glocken is, what's the archaeological aspect of it? The Ark of the Covenant was lost in antiquity, and they were trying to find it. Well, it makes sense that an archaeologist would be digging in places where the Ark of the Covenant might be found, or looking for evidence of the Ark of the Covenant.
He was looking for something that they put in it that was a cult.
So,
like something, people, something holy in it.
But there was never anything to support that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing.
Well, there was nothing to support any of those ideas.
Well, no, but if you say the Holy Grail, you know what people are talking about. If you go up and say, oh, well, this was about, Indiana Jones and the Glocken, what the hell does Indiana Jones have to do with Nazi science?
He was looking for something, and he just found the Glocken. There we go.
Yeah. So
then it would have led to a whole occult thing, and that, if they wanted to keep going, now the person's like, I want to find all these cool stuff. We've already done the history stuff. I want to find this cool stuff.
Yeah. So, but anyway, Indy is neither Marvel or DC.
He just got South Park.
Well, a lot of stuff's been South Park, but
never twice.
No. So, from a Marvel DC perspective, what do we have to look forward to next?
Blue Beetle.
That's August or September?
It's soon.
I think it's August.
It is.
I want to say it's late August.
Yeah. It doesn't. I'm gonna be real honest. I saw a trailer. Didn't look super great, but I have faith that it might be decent.
So let's back up a little bit before we start talking about Blue Beetle. So one of the things that I've heard about The Flash that made me less interested in trying to find time to go see it was that the CG in The Flash was very poor. Like, they over-CG'd everybody's costumes. Everybody's costumes.
Yeah.
And people were drawing comparisons to the Green Lantern. Some even saying The Flash was worse than the Green Lantern about bad CG.
Oof.
Yeah. Everybody already knows how we feel about the Green Lantern. We love Ryan Reynolds, but that movie was garbage.
He couldn't back out of it because it would cost him too much.
Yeah. Yeah, not even he could save that movie. But so that's one of the things that has me a little bit concerned, and why I haven't been seeking out The Flash to try and catch it and try and watch it. I'll just wait till it hits streaming and maybe watch it then. Because if everybody's ripping on the CG, and that's a very visually popping movie with all the outfits and costumes and stuff.
In the powers?
Yeah. So if the CG's that bad or so overdone, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to keep my eyes on it.
apparently, I've seen a couple of them. The Flash at one point shows like his face, like in the Thor, the Love and Thunder thing, like the kid did, and it looked worse than the kid. I thought the kid CGI with him doing it was kind of bad. His was way worse.
Well, so one of the things I was reading is when they were talking about the outfit. So Supergirl makes an appearance in this movie.
Yeah.
And there were pictures of the actress in her outfit during filming. She was wearing a very practical Supergirl outfit, full colors, full insignias, the cape, the whole 9 yards. And the pictures of her in her outfit looked fine, looked good, looked like it was a movie quality outfit ready to go on camera. But when you watch the movie,
she's in a completely different outfit.
I know it's apparently super embellished, over colorized. Like they just went and did everything they could on top of that to make it pop more, I guess.
They tried to put comic book colors in real life.
I'm assuming that's probably what it was. And it just seems like it's too much from what everybody is saying online.
Well, there's a reason they're comic book colors and not movie colors.
I know. But you can't help but wonder if this was DC's attempt to rectify one of the biggest complaints about their movies through the DCEU, and that was that they are too dark. The Marvels are, they're bright, they're colorful, they're playful, blah, 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 blah. The DC movies are all dark, depressing, ill-conceived, don't make sense, jumbled mess, poor writing. The list goes on.
Yeah. So they took the turn up the brightness on your cameras and put some light in there we'll just up the colors on the costumes.
Let's just blind everybody with so much color they can't see how bad everything else is.
Yeah. Like, no, just do some more stuff in the daylight, please.
Yeah. You don't necessarily have to make everybody's outfits super bright neon. Just turn on a light or two.
Please.
So again, not having seen it, I don't want to put too much judgment on the film, but being that I am consistently seeing the same reports on it, I'm fairly confident I know the outcome. And it has been reported The Flash was a major bomb for DC. It lost more money than many of their other recent films. So The Rock's Black Adam's not looking as bad.
It wasn't bad if they just left it alone. If they took out everyone else except for the helmet and the hot guy. I already forgot their names.
Dr. Fate.
Yeah, the guy I actually really like.
Yeah.
And took out everybody else. It would have been fine.
Yeah, they in typical DC fashion, they over-engineered their script and try and make everything into an ensemble movie. Oh, look, here's a movie about a single character. Cool, let's throw in 15 more.
Yeah, please don't.
Yeah, and The Flash is the same way. It's the Flash movie, but there's 2 Flashes, 3 Batman,
Supergirl,
a Supergirl. But I think there's even a Green Lantern in there. But there's all these different superheroes. I don't think they play as major of a role and are as consistent throughout the film as the Flash. Like he just pops in and out as he travels through time and creates it's these different universes or whatever.
It's still just
but it's cameo after cameo after cameo. And okay, well, you're taking away from the Flash, but whatever. All right, so enough of that. Blue Beetle comes out soon. You saw the trailer. What'd you think?
It didn't look great.
What about it didn't look great? Expand on that.
It felt, just the ad itself felt super cheesy. Like, it looked more, just from the ad I saw, it looked more like a 2011, 2009 superhero movie with, like, DC's cheese on it.
Like the quality of the graphics weren't good?
Kinda.
So you have to wonder if they thought Blue Beetle was a lesser known character, so they weren't going to put as much of a budget behind it.
Maybe they may have fixed it.
And then after the James Gunn announcement, they decided, we're not going to put any more money on it, or we're going to take money away from it.
I don't know. I really have to watch it again, but it felt weird, and I was really hyped for this movie.
Well, I can help you to improve your outlook on the Blue Beetle. You want to know how?
It's not old DC.
No. No. Technically, it is still old DC.
Oh, shit. How you gonna ruin
But the Marvel counterpart that's coming out soon is the Eternals. Which would you rather see?
it? You're right. Blue Beetle it is.
All right. Yeah, I knew you would go that way.
Did the Eternals have a second movie?
No, not the Eternals. Sorry, not the Eternals. The Marvels.
Oh, God, no. I'm good. Yeah, Blue Beetle. I'm probably going to give it a 10 out of 10 just out of spite.
So, have you seen the trailer for the Marvels?
It's 2 characters I don't really
3.
like. Oh, 3. Who's the third one? The Black Lady?
Yeah.
3
Yeah.
characters I don't really like.
So the premise is that their powers are somehow connected. So whenever Miss Marvel does something, it causes her and Captain Marvel to swap places. So they each end up in the other one's world, not knowing where they are, and they're trying to figure out what that connection is and how to control it, if they can break it and all this and that and the other. So it ends up, Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel, who admires Captain Marvel, running around with Maria Rochambeau or Rocham or whatever. I can't even remember what her name is. Rambo. Running around, the 3 of them, trying to unpack all this. It looks like it might be
Fun?
kind of fun and entertaining.
But it's a Captain Marvel movie.
I know.
With Brie Larson still.
I know.
They're gonna ruin it.
Probably.
There is no probably. It's guaranteed.
Now, the other side to this that is all relatively recent since our last episode, the strikes.
They're still going, right?
Oh, yeah. So the
Okay.
writer strike started in mid to late May,
Yeah.
and that shut down new content from being made
Okay.
because nobody was writing scripts, nobody was doing anything. Deadpool 3 started filming, but Ryan Reynolds, being a writer, he was striking on the writing side of things, but still performing on the actor side of things. So he wasn't ad-libbing.
Yeah.
Because when he starts going in and starts ad-libbing, then that changes things up, and the writers have to account for stuff like that as to what the final take is. Well, if the writers are on strike, they can't make updates and changes to the script, so ad-libbing's not allowed. That's why he hasn't been ad-libbing. All the reports are, Ryan Reynolds has been told he can't ad-lib for Deadpool 3. Well, no, it wasn't that he couldn't ad-lib because the studio told him they didn't want him to. It was that with the writer strike, he couldn't do it.
Yeah. I'm going to be real honest, though. I don't know whose side I'm on the writer's strike. They haven't been writing anything good. So, I don't want to hire them. I don't think they should be paid. But at the same time, they do deserve it. But, is it their fault nothing's good being made? Or is it the studio's fault nothing's good being made?
It's probably a little bit of both, but you'll also hear a lot of times stories come out post-production where the studio executives will start giving them input. Well, you need to include this person. Well, you need to include that. Well, you need to do this. You need to do that. And it forces the writers to do things in stories that they wouldn't otherwise do.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's a little bit of both. But one of their main arguments for this strike is, the old contract that the union had really was before streaming took off. So there's not necessarily a lot of things in there for writing on things for Netflix or Amazon or Hulu, or if you write a TV show and then it goes into streaming, how those royalties compare versus if you write a show on CBS and then it goes into syndication on TBS.
Yeah.
So they're trying to work out all of these details, and it's very much like the whole lawsuit Scarlett Johansson had for the Black Widow.
Yeah.
Because her contract was written before Disney Plus was a thing. So her contract was for her to get a proceed of the ticket sales. Instead of paying me this large salary up front, you're going to pay me this salary, plus I'm going to receive a percentage of the theater sales. And then Disney turned around and says, okay, we're going to release it on Disney Plus the same day we put it in theaters. Well, then that reduces the ticket sales.
Yep.
So they're fighting to try and get everything current for the current model of business so that they can get paid better for it. And the Actors Guild went on strike late June, early July. Oh yeah, I guess it was probably early July. Because the Oppenheimer movie was doing its premiere when the Actors Guild voted to go on strike. The actors for the movie Oppenheimer were in the movie theater watching the premiere when the strike took effect, they got up and walked out of the theater. They left their own premiere to go on strike.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And
that's the same day Barbie came out.
No.
I thought they came out the same day.
No, I'm talking about not the premiere. I'm not talking about their release day, because Barbie releases this weekend.
Good.
But no, like when they were doing their big premiere event kind of thing. But it's the same thing for the actors. They're wanting to have the contracts written to up their pays for streaming content, streaming royalties, things like that. And you hear, like, oh, Will Smith gets $20 million a movie. This person gets $10 million a movie. This person gets $30 million a movie. And for your big superstars, your big main leads, yeah, okay, that's a thing. But like some of the TV shows and some of the movies, the smaller people, they don't make that kind of money. Yeah, there was one actor who was talking about the strike. I forget which show they were on, but it was a streaming show, saying that he got paid $7,500 an episode. That was it, $7,500 an episode. And to a lot of people, $7,500, that's good money. That's a lot of money. And yeah, I mean, it kind of is. I'm not going to toot my own horn or anything here, but I make more than that a month. So I mean, this guy's making less money than I do a month, and he's on a TV show. Now, I mean, after my taxes and insurance and all that stuff, I don't bring home that much money. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of crazy. You're an actor and you're putting in all these crazy hours and doing all this stuff, and that's all you get per episode. And then you get a few cents per residual each time somebody streams it. One guy said he got a residual check for 38 cents.
God.
There was another one that said they got a residual check for -1 cent.
How?
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, how do you stream a show so few times that you have to pay the studio? That doesn't make sense at all. But I can only imagine that the percentages per episode were so small that it rounded down or something. I don't know. But yeah, I got a check for -1 cent. God. And a lot of these smaller actors are complaining that the studios don't have to pay them that much for these types of roles, so they can't quit their day jobs. We don't make enough money on our residuals to really pay for anything, and our per episode earnings aren't enough for us to survive on long term. So we're trying to get some better deals with this new construct. And I can understand that. I can agree with that. I mean, I don't make any money off the residuals for my books. I mean, I get maybe $3 a book. That's it. Do you know how many books you have to sell in a year to be able to pay for, the mortgage? That's a lot of books. I mean,
a lot.
Yeah. So for me to earn enough money to pay my mortgage every month, I'd have to sell upwards of $500-600 or 500-600 books every 30 days to be able to pay the mortgage alone. I mean, that's a lot of books you've got to shift over the course of a year. I mean, that's 6,000 books a year minimum.
Yeah.
That's not an easy thing to do unless you're a popular author. J.K. Rowling, yeah, she probably had no problem doing that stuff when the Harry Potter books were hot. Stephen King, he can probably manage that, over a period of time. But somebody like me, no, that shit don't happen. So I can understand that perspective. So, but the fallout from this is that we're seeing delays across the board for Marvel and DC. A lot of the Phase 5, Phase 6 stuff for Marvel has been pushed way out. We don't know when the James Gunn DC stuff's going to happen. They've made some casting announcements for certain things, but the movies are TBD. And then on top of that, Disney came out and said, yeah, we acknowledge finally that we have oversaturated Star Wars and Marvel. So we're going to start producing less content for those.
Good.
Thank God.
Did you find that as an article?
It's been the headlines for the last couple of weeks.
Okay, I've been working, so I'm gonna look that up because I want to see that. I want to see them admit it.
Well, depending on which article you read and which quote you take from it, basically the CEO Bob Iger of Disney has just come out and said we're slowing down our production. We're not going to produce as much. They're not going to say, "Oh, we did this, we killed the brand,
Yeah,
we
no,
don't know
no.
what we're doing." He's not going to make that kind of a claim. But he did come out and say, "We're slowing down production in these areas." And it's largely because they're oversaturated and they've seen viewership decline. People are getting superhero fatigue because they're constantly being inundated with TV shows and movies right now. All these superheroes. They're just getting tired. And when you look at Star Wars, it's the same thing. Oh, here's 3 new Star Wars movies. Oh, here's The Mandalorian. Oh, here's the Book of Boba Fett. Oh, here's Ahsoka. Oh, here's this. Here's that. Oh, we're going to do 3 more Star Wars movies. They just keep throwing the content out there. And I think people are just going, oh my God, slow down. Give it a break.
Yeah, I'm 100% on that. I don't think I can remember the last time I actually decided to watch a superhero movie besides the when we go to the theaters.
Yeah, I don't really sit down and watch them at home much anymore, unless it's one that I haven't seen yet. But most of them I go and watch in the movie theaters.
Yeah, I'm not going to go back.
Yeah, and I really have laid off on streaming all of my content. Like, I still haven't finished watching Andor, the Star Wars series on Disney. I still haven't finished watching Secret Invasion, the Nick Fury Skrull stuff. I still hadn't even finished watching She-Hulk because there's just so much of it. I'm just like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
She-Hulk's one of those ones that not super interesting to me. Not because she's a woman or anything. I'm not trying to be sexist. I've already seen enough of the Hulk. I'm just not interested in the She-Hulk. Secret Invasion, talking about the Skrulls and all that stuff. I've already watched Captain Marvel. I'm done. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just... they're trying to add supplementary content to the movies, I think, with the TV shows.
I think the TV shows really started to kill it.
Yeah, well, if you're going to do a TV show, have something that's kind of setting up something else. Like if they're really wanting to do a Young Avengers thing as one of the next phases, do a TV show about the Young Avengers.
Yeah.
And then then when they get bigger, then you can have them take over, here's the Avengers coming over, and you can see where the old Avengers are falling out and they're struggling to win, and the young Avengers have to come in, so it's almost like a crossover from the TV show to the movie, but that provides you like the stepping stone or something. I don't know. I don't need all the background stuff, like, oh, here's what happened to Sam and Bucky after the Avengers. Oh, here's what happened to Hawkeye after the Avengers. Oh, here's what was really going on with Nick Fury between Captain Marvel and Thanos. We already have the movies that tell us all that stuff. I don't need all this extra stuff.
I think I would have rather the Secret Invasion thing be a Nick Fury movie. Like, think about, he didn't get his own. He's pretty cool. I like Samuel L. Jackson.
I love Samuel L. Jackson. I just really struggle wondering how he would spend that much time on screen without yelling motherfucker at every 30 seconds.
Easy. You don't know if he's actually a Skrull or not, so it's just us guessing which one it is, and then at one point in the movie, he gets one of them, and that's how we know which one's the real one.
Oh, that's the real Nick Fury.
That's the one right there.
That would be an interesting way to use their one PG-13 F-bomb.
They already did it in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson deserves one.
Samuel L. Jackson deserves 2.
Yeah. So, I'm just saying, this Secret Invasion could have been a movie.
Yeah.
And we could have been like, all right, so how do we know if it's the real him, if it's not a Skrull? And then, like, at one point, there's like 3 of them on there, and then he just drops the F-bomb. That's the real one right there.
Yeah, they just all come running out of the room, and they look at each other, and he just goes, fuck. And they shoot the other 2. How'd you know that one was me?
A mouth like yours? Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't forget it.
Yeah. But I am glad to hear that they're going to start slowing down a little bit. Give everybody a chance to breathe, make the next movie or the next TV show something more of an event. Like when The Mandalorian first dropped, it was an event.
Oh my God, it was good.
It was
an event.
It was really good. And then it just became an everyday thing. Like, oh, we've got a new Star Wars show coming this week, and then next month we've got another Star Wars show coming.
And we're going to put The Mandalorian in all of it.
Yeah. So slow down, build quality, not quantity.
Disney, they don't know anything about quality anymore.
None of them do. I mean, just look at DC. They
Yep.
haven't had quality in years.
Only in their animated department. Which, before we leave, DC is doing an anime with the people that did like the first season of Attack on Titan, Vinland Saga, and all that with Suicide Squad.
That's right. I saw something about that.
Yes.
That definitely caught my attention.
Suicide Squad, the Isekai. And it looked good.
Do we know anything about when that's going to drop?
Nope, I don't know anything
They've
about
announced it, but we don't know dates yet.
Yep.
Okay, so we
It's
need
just
to
one
keep
of
our
the
head out
biggest
for that.
studios in anime, just dropping a DC movie with Suicide Squad.
Nice. Oh, that reminds me. We need to look at the calendar again to see when the next Studio Ghibli movie is in Waco that we want to go watch.
Okay, you're right.
Because I know there's some coming up August and September.
I think the one I wanted to watch was in October.
Maybe. Well, there's a few of them we wanted to watch.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. That's a different subject for a different podcast, I guess.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, Blue Beetle, The Marvels.
No.
Oh, Craven. They dropped a trailer for Craven.
Yes.
That looks interesting.
Yeah. Craven is one of the few people that just beat the shit out of Spider-Man one time.
And the trailer makes it look like he's going to be kind of brutal.
He is.
That drops, what, October?
Yeah.
So we've got some more stuff to look forward to this year. Some of it looks better than others. But as far as TV shows, I don't know. I haven't heard anything about Peacemaker Season 2, Loki Season 2. I don't know if that's been delayed or not. I know they started on it.
We'll just keep an eye out on Suicide Squad, the Isekai.
Yeah, there you go. We got to keep focused on what's important.
You know, if they're on strike over here in America, not Japan.
True. All right. Well, hopefully we'll be back next time on a more regular basis again. We won't have such a big gap between recordings.
That's why this episode's long.
That and we just like to talk.
Well, we haven't got to talk about anything in like a month.
2 months.
2 months.
2 months. So we'll get back on track soon. And if that's all, what are we going to close with this week?
I don't got anything.
Yeah, That's Fantastic is starting to run out.
Yeah. Well, nothing's fantastic anymore.
That's true. That damn sure ain't fantastic. Were there any good quotes that we heard at the convention we went to?
Just loud screaming.
Yeah.
Just loud screaming.
Very true. All right. Well, in that case, we'll just close with adios. How's that?
This was a canon event.
Or was it?
Oh.
Ooh.
Our universe is falling apart.
Later, peeps.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Nerd Shit. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/LordBradBrad to see when new episodes drop. Or you can find our channel on YouTube. Just search Lord Brad Brad and look for our logo. You can listen to all of your favorite episodes of Nerd Shit directly from our website, www.lordbradbrad.com, where you can also learn a little bit more about us and the products we use and reference on the show. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to donate to the show, we gladly accept donations at coffee.com/LordBradBrad. That's coffee, spelled ko-fi.com/LordBradBrad. Or you can just click the link at the bottom of our website. If you have any comments on anything discussed in this episode or would like to suggest a topic you would like to hear us talk about in a future episode, hit us up on our Facebook page. Again, that's facebook.com/LordBradBrad. Until next time, this is Riorik signing off and telling you to keep doing that nerd shit because you know we will.